Hello, and welcome to this Resurgence Earth Festival, in which we will celebrate the Festival of Beltane, a time of fertility, frivolity, and a festival of fire, which marks the start of summer. My name is Georgie Gilmore, and I am so excited to celebrate this high time of expansion, expression, and exuberance with all of you. So thank you for joining us. For today's journey, you will need pen, paper, a candle, and something to light it with. So if you don't have those to hand, please gather them quickly now. So before we move forward on our journey, I would like to provide a brief outline or map of the journey we're about to embark on. We will begin with a short arrival meditation to ground ourselves and open us to the process or the journey that we'll be sharing. We'll then spend about 15 minutes reflecting on the season of Beltane, some of the traditions surrounding it, and we'll ask ourselves a few questions that will help unlock what this time in the seasonal cycle means for us in our lives. We'll then share a 15-minute guided meditation or visualization, in which we'll further connect to the season of Beltane, the ways of celebrating it, and what this season evokes for us. We'll then have 10 minutes of nature connection practices, which will be suggested ways that you can go after our gathering today and deepen your relationship with the earth and with the energies of this season. Finally, we'll reflect on the process that we share and seal today's practice. So with all that said and done, let us have our opening meditation. I invite you to close your eyes and to find a comfortable position sitting up. Once you've drawn the eyes to a close, begin to deepen the breath. Allowing the slow steadiness of the breath to soothe you, body and mind. Noticing each inhale as it renews, and each exhale an opportunity to let go of anything that occurred before we gathered or anything that will follow, so that you can be present to the journey that we have now embarked on. Notice the rise and fall of the breath, how it moves the body. Notice the gentle sounds of the breath coming in and out like the sea. Can these experiences of the breath bring your awareness and your presence into the here and now, to what is unfolding in each moment? I invite you to draw the breath now deep into the belly, to further ground yourself and to bring your attention down from your head, from the faster frequency of thoughts, into the slower, embodied presence of the body. Feel where your body meets the seat beneath you, and allow your weight to be held by its support. I invite you to imagine that roots grew from your feet or the base of your spine, deep down into the earth, into its rich, nourishing soil. Grounding you, rooting you, and connecting you to the earth, to its immense presence. You may like to imagine those roots traveling all the way down to the very center of the earth, into the fiery core. And that these roots could draw that immensely powerful energy up through the earth, through your roots and into your body, renewing you. With your eyes still closed, place one hand on the chair beneath you and one at your heart center. With the hand next to you, imagine that it was placed on the earth, on the soil, on grass or a rock, whatever comes to you. And through this hand, connect to the earth, to all that is unfurling, blossoming, blooming, nesting and fledging. And with the hand at the heart, can you tenderly greet yourself as a part of nature? Noticing whatever is present within you in this moment. What thoughts, feelings, sensations. Greeting all of those with compassion and with welcome. Accepting whatever is in this moment. By celebrating these Earth Festivals, we deepen our relationship with the earth, and we deepen our relationship with ourselves as a part of nature. We take a step closer to living in full awareness of the interconnectedness of all life and our inherent participation in the family of things. So thank yourself for taking this time to honor the earth, the season of Beltane, and how that manifests in your life. Connecting now to both hands, acknowledging the life that is shared between you and the earth. Each threads in the tapestry of life. Maintaining that connection. When you're ready, gently open the eyes. And make yourselves comfortable for our seasonal reflections. This is the part when you'll need pen and paper, as we'll ask ourselves a few questions to help us understand what Beltane means for us, and we'll also explore some of the traditional ways of celebrating this abundant time. So to give this season some context, I'm sharing with you the Wheel of the Year, which shows the seasonal cycle and the 8 Earth Festivals, which are the pivotal moments in this seasonal cycle. These Earth Festivals have been celebrated in the islands that are now called the British Isles for thousands of years, since a time when humans, our ancestors, lived in much deeper relationship with the land. Today, Earth Festivals can serve as beautiful reminders and invitations to live in greater reverence, gratitude, and connection with the earth. So on this wheel of the year, you can see Beltane at the northeast point, if this was a compass. So it falls between the spring equinox, which is when day and night are of equal length, and the summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year and has the shortest night. Beltane is seen to be the start of summer. We've had a very cold April here in England, and so that feels like a bit of a stretch, but nonetheless, this is the time when we're slowly moving out of spring and into summer. The summer solstice would mark the middle of summer, and LAMMAS would mark the end of summer and the beginning of autumn. So between now and the summer solstice, we will be in the season of Beltane, which is initiated by the festival of Beltane. So now to tell you a little bit about the ways that Beltane can be celebrated. At Beltane, the earth is becoming potently fertile, and that traditionally would have been honoured and celebrated. Abundant new life that burst forth across the land was seen to arise because of the union between the sun god and the earth goddess. And Beltane, or May Day as it's sometimes called, celebrations were held to honour this union. One of the ways that that was done and continues to be done today is through the maypole, which is inserted into the earth to represent the potency of the sun god. And then the ring of flowers at the top of the maypole would represent the fertile earth goddess. And people would take hold of the vines or pieces of cloth that would cascade down from the top of this maypole and dance around it. Women would go in one direction and men would go in another, weaving the ribbons, the fabric, or the ivy together into a sheath around the pole, representing the union between the sun god and the earth goddess. Now, when these earth festivals would first have been celebrated, the sun god, the Celtic sun god, was called Bel or Belanos, and he was celebrated at this time of year as we move into summer, giving the festival and the season of Beltane the first half of its name, Bel or Belanos, the sun god, and Beltane. Bel or Belanos means the bright one, and he was the god of light, of healing, and of health. The second word from which Beltane is derived is the old Irish word for fire, tane. Together, Bel, bright one, and Tane, fire, make bright fire, describing the vitality and power of the sun at this time. And fire was incredibly central to and important to Beltane celebrations, and will play a part in our gathering today. So, on the dawn of this Earth Festival, people would extinguish the fires in their homes and then gather on the hilltops that surrounded their communities and light fires there, the fires of Beltane. And these were a way of greeting and honouring the sun and calling on the support of Bel, the sun god, and the power of the sun to bring prosperity and fertility to the land. At this, the doorway into summer. Beltane was the time when cattle would be driven out to the summer pastures, and they would be led between the Beltane fires to symbolically purify them and so that they could receive the power of the sun. For the same reason, people would jump over the flames, and couples would also do that as a way to pledge themselves to each other and to receive the fertility that the sun brings. Now, as with all great festivals, there would be feasting, frolicking, and festivities. And once they were over and the fires diminished, people would take the embers from the Beltane fires back to their own homes to start their fires anew, bringing the prosperity and power of Beltane into their homes. So let us honor this fire festival by reaching for our candles and whatever you have to light it with. And light these candles as if you were lighting the fires of Beltane, calling on the sun to bless the land on which you stand with energy, fertility, and abundance. Doing as so many have done over so many years. And once your candle is lit, safely place it to one side where it won't get knocked. And close your eyes. Taking a moment to honor the sun for rising each morning and sharing its life-giving energy with the earth and with us. I invite you to imagine that little Beltane flame was flickering in your heart. As you look at this flame, representing the power of the sun at this time and the energy it brings, ask yourself, what part of my life do I wish to bring energy to this summer? That may be something really subtle, like wanting to live a more calm, grounded, connected life, or to be more creative, spend more time in nature. It could be something more external, like starting a new project. Whatever that is for you, whatever rings true, greet that. That is your Beltane intention. And staying connected to whatever that is for you, open the eyes and reach for your pen and paper. And write down what it is that you want to bring energy to this summer. I'll give you a minute to respond to that. So, popping your pen down for a moment. We are entering the time of year when the sun is at its most powerful and when there is most energy available to the earth and therefore to us. So this is a fertile and potent time for us to begin acting on our visions and to bring the energy of this season to the parts of our lives that we wish to see blossom. So looking back at what you've just written, what it is you want to bring energy to this summer, I invite you to respond to the next question. What actions can I take to bring energy to this part of my life? Again, you'll have a minute for that. I suggest that you write no more than 3 things so that you don't overload yourself. And if you can think of more, think of the 3 that you realistically can commit to. Beltane is a time in which so many buds burst open into blossom, which makes me think of a quote by Anais Nin, which is, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." And so with that, I invite you to ask yourself, what might impede or block the part of your life, that part of your life from blossoming? Again, you have 1 minute. And they may be fears, habits, limiting beliefs, or external circumstances, or anything that comes to mind. And then our final question is, how can I work with these blocks compassionately and support myself in the process of blossoming? Again, I suggest that perhaps you only note down up to 3 things, 3 supportive practices like meditation or walking, or actions you can take to support that process. And then when you're ready, pop your pen down. With your Beltane intention in your heart, let us move into our guided meditation. And for this one, you are very welcome to lie down, as long as you're sure that you won't fall asleep, as this is a really important part of our Beltane journey today. So make yourselves comfortable either sitting up or lying down. And when you're ready, close the eyes. And once again, begin to deepen the breath. And notice once more where your body meets the support beneath you. Can you allow yourself to be held by that support and held in turn by the earth? Watching each inhale and each exhale, allowing slowness into the breath. Now imagine that you are walking through a dappled woodland on a warm morning in the season of Beltane. You carry with you a basket of kindling, matches and paper. What do you notice about your surroundings on this potent day of Beltane? What sounds, what smells, what sights? As you walk quietly through this woodland, you look at how the light shines through the young birch leaves, the young beech leaves that have only recently unfurled from their buds. You treasure all that the sun is blessing with renewed and growing energy. As you walk through this woodland, you come across a sea of bluebells that seem to cover the floor of this wood like a magnificent carpet of life and of beauty. You watch how a yellow butterfly dances over the flowers. And you can hear the bees making the most of the abundant nectar that is becoming more readily available now we are in the season of Beltane. This woodland is on a gradual hill. And after a while of making your way through it and taking in all that you can see, you reach a clearing at the top of the hill where the woodland falls away behind you. and where you can step out into the tender Beltane morning sun. As you stand in this clearing, you can see little droplets of dew still glistening on the grass. So you place your basket down and run your fingertips through the dewy grass. And then take your hands to your face. And with that dew, you wash away spring, asking that you receive the energy and vitality of the sun that is present in these dewdrops, so that you can bring that to that which is ready to blossom in your life. You stand and pick up your basket once more. And then, as you make your way across the top of this hill, you notice the golden dandelions that are dotted across the earth before you. Those radiant flowers that seem to reflect the strengthening Beltane sun. You've come to this hill to honour the season of Beltane, the power of the sun, and this time at which we stand at the threshold into summer. So you find a spot where you can sit and you begin to make a Beltane fire, thinking of all those that have done so before you, those that have gathered throughout time to honour the sun and the earth and their life-giving union. Once your fire is lit and the flames are dancing beneath the Beltane sun, you look into the fire and draw to mind what it is you want to bring energy to this summer. You imagine what your life would look like if you were able to bring your energy to that part of your life and it were to blossom. You imagine what it would feel like. Noticing how and where you experience that in your body, that feeling. You feel called to pledge yourself to the blossoming of this part of your life. And so you speak into the powerful flames before you. I pledge myself to bring energy to, and you speak of that which you want to see blossom this summer. You then think of what may impede or block this part of your life from blossoming. And you reach for a final piece of kindling. And as you offer it to the flames, with gratitude and compassion, you say, I leave behind that which may hold you back from allowing that part of your life from flowering. You then lie back on the soft earth beneath you and allow yourself to be held by the earth and to feel the warmth of the Beltane sun on your face. You listen to the songbirds who are at their most vocal and most active. And you notice how it feels to be truly present to the earth at this phase in the seasonal cycle. Present to the enlivening energies of the natural world, the doorway into summer, to the expansion and expression, the fullness, fertility and unfurling is taking place all around you. You allow yourself to sink into the potent energies of Beltane, into the sense of promise that fills the air. And as you feel the invigorating sense of your surroundings, you acknowledge that you are a part of nature, as much as the badger cubs that are beginning to step out of their sets at this time. And that the energy that is available to the land in the season of Beltane is also available to you and to all that you wish to see blossom and flower this summer. When you're ready, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing movement back into the body, and then gently opening the eyes. And making yourself comfortable for our nature connection practices that I hope will help you to further connect to the season of Beltane and deepen your relationship with nature and with yourself as a part of nature. And by doing that, I really believe that we deepen our care for and our allegiance to the earth. And so I hope that these Earth Festivals serve as invitations to you, to all of us, to live in greater interconnectedness with all of life. So firstly, I'd like to share with you the Tree of Beltane, which is the Hawthorne Tree, also sometimes known as whitethorn, which is usually blossoming at this time of the year. But where I am, that's definitely a little bit late this year because of the very cold and windy and dry April that we've had. But because hawthorns are normally blossoming at this time of year, they were revered and celebrated at Beltane. Maypoles that I spoke about earlier in the seasonal reflections would once have been a living hawthorn tree. And there are so many ways of working with the potent energies and medicine of hawthorn. So hawthorn is often known as the tree of the heart because its leaves, flowers, and berries are incredibly powerful herbal healers of the heart, both physically and emotionally. They're good for low and high blood pressure, and they improve circulation in and from the body. So they're really good in preventing the hardening of arteries, and they're good for water retention as well. Hawthorn are also very beneficial for the nervous system, and they're great for relaxation, anxiety, stress, insomnia, because they have slightly sedative effects. So they're a lovely plant to go to, tree, if you're feeling stressed or wound up, or if you're in need of a little gentleness. So at this time of the year, the leaves and the flowers, once they've fully come, can be nibbled straight from the tree or added to salads or on top of your breakfast. They can also be dried for healing herbal tea and to drink them for your heart or your nervous system. They can also be preserved in brandy to make healing tinctures, and we will email you some instructions about how you can do that. You can also make hawthorn wine, syrup, or brandy with the flowers. So wait on them if that's something you'd like to do this year. Now, because of the hawthorn's beneficial effects on the heart, this tree of the heart is often associated with love. And so it's not only a great tree to spend time with in order to celebrate Beltane, but it's also a great tree to call on if you're feeling heavy-hearted, or if you're feeling angry or disappointed, or if you're grieving, if you're anxious and want to receive love. These abundant little trees really evoke a very benevolent and welcoming presence. And so I find that spending time with them is so beneficial for my spirits. I find them so uplifting. And so I encourage you to try to spend time with the hawthorn tree, and to do so with an open mind. Even if you think that the healing effects only come because of the associations with traits such as love and the effects on the heart and the nervous system, the placebo effect has been proven to be very powerful, and I would most definitely argue that what I feel from the hawthorn is much more than that. Now, the last few practices are just about spending time in nature with presence and with curiosity, and to step out with no destination in mind, but simply allow yourself to be led by what draws your attention and what you feel called to, what sparks your curiosity. And that may be plants, flowers, trees, or it could be birds, and you could simply sit and watch those animals' behavior, and just allow yourself to become deeply attentive to what it is that is drawing your attention, and be very present to all that is unfolding around you. And you can do that by also connecting with the unique presence of, for example, a tree. And I encourage you to go and really notice what it is that you sense. Each tree will be different, just as each human is different. And so what is it that you can sense, both in the senses of smell and sight, etc., but also deeper senses of how does your gut feel? How does your heart feel? These are really important parts of how we can perceive more deeply. And I also encourage you to play. We are never too old to play and to get creative. So, and I encourage play, as I think it's a great way of getting out of our more skeptical thinking mind that likes to separate things and categorize them and make distinctions between them and us. And a practice I'd like to offer for that, as a way of coming into deeper feeling, sensing, and intuiting, is to, you could try, for example, with a tree, say, or with a flower, and that is simply to hum until you find a key or a note or a rhythm that seems to resonate with that being before you. If you have other ways of connecting more deeply and beyond, you know, what is this plant or what's that animal, please again do share them on the Resurgence Earth Festival Facebook group. We're always very keen to hear. And I'd also really encourage you to find ways of offering your thanks to the earth. We take so much from nature, so I think it's so important for us to ask, how can we give back, even if that's just on a symbolic level? And that may be to offer your voice, your song, whatever words you feel called to share when you're out in nature. Or it could be to make a beautiful decoration on the earth using flowers, or offering food to the earth and water. And sometimes I find that it's simply to just be in silence, and that is something that is more kind of countercultural and more and requires more of my presence than an action that I can give. I hope that these practices will deepen your relationship with the rest of nature, because we are a part of nature, and that they will be ways of connecting with the energies of Beltane, particularly the Tree of Beltane, the Hawthorne. Before we seal our practice with a very short practice, I'd like to just briefly share a few events that we have coming up. The Resurgence Trust is an educational charity for social justice, ecological regeneration, and spiritual fulfillment. And we offer a number of events exploring the interconnectedness of all life. Our next Earth Festival is one of those events, and I so hope that you'll join us then. The summer solstice is when the sun is at its highest and most powerful, and so we will explore the unique light that each of us shares, our relationship to our own power, and we will honor the fullness of the earth at the height of summer. You can sign up to our Earth Festival newsletter to receive an email with exclusive Earth Festival materials between each gathering. We share nature connection practices and explorations of the season. We'd also really like to invite you to become members of Resurgence if you're not already. Resurgence recognizes the interconnectedness of all life and also of the most pressing issues of our time. And as a member, you'll not only receive bi-monthly copies of Resurgence and Ecologist, you'll also support the Trust in contributing to a future in which humanity can live in harmony with itself and with nature. So we so hope you will join us on that journey. And we also have regular readers groups when we come together to discuss issues such as ethical living, well-being, the environment, and the arts. And we so hope that you'll join these heartwarming and thought-provoking sessions with us. Now, with all of that said and done, we can seal our practice. So find a comfortable position sitting up for the very last time. Let's take a minute or two. Just ground down all that we've explored, and do so by closing our eyes. And once again, returning one hand to your heart and one to the seat beside you. with a hand on the seat beside you, imagining that you could connect with the grounding, nourishing presence of the earth. With this time of Beltane and all that it awakens on the land, the magnificence, the diversity and vibrancy. And with the hand at the heart, thank yourself for taking this time to explore what Beltane means for you, and to honor this, to honor the earth at this threshold into summer. May we live in ever deeper relationship with the earth. And may all that is ready to blossom in your life know the blessings of Beltane and the abundance of the earth. And may you know your deep belonging to the earth. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and blow out your candle, your little Beltane flame. But may its power and energy remain with you throughout the season of Beltane and throughout the summer that stretches before us. I hope you'll join us again to celebrate the summer solstice, but for now, go gently.